way to avoid challenges is to have no ambitions.
Now get back to the question that I give you. It's a challenge of first you face it yourself and now you can transform that to help others. But then the challenges get more difficult and upgrade over years. You agree on that? Because life change and the need from people change and the requirement from the society change. So how do you adapt to that? Because from 2008 to now is quite long, and I'm sure a lot of things being improved and changed. So how do you deal with that as a coach as well, to deal with people?
Yes. So as far as challenges,
Yeah.
there are always challenges. The only way to avoid challenges is to have no ambitions. So I fell in love with challenges, but I tell you, I also fell in love with fear. So
That's a good one.
well, yeah. So many people think then, and I'm so glad you say that about the fears, right? Because many people think that they see someone who's successful and they think that person does not experience fears.
No.
The level of fear has nothing to do with it. Yeah, we don't know what someone experiences. And people who are very high level also tend to have more pressure. Well, I shouldn't say more, we shouldn't compare more or less, right? But we all have our own unique pressures. So a lot of what I've done in life is to learn about my own psychology and learn about other people's psychology, which is why I've become an effective coach. And I know that you've studied psychology. It's so helpful to understand our psychology. I would love to talk a little bit more about fear, if you'd like.
Yes, please go with it. I'm curious why I was so much fear when I young and I less fear now.
Really? Yeah,
I think that's a very good start. Let's use me as an example. If you need a...
And this is also for the younger audience here, who might be on a path of not knowing what to do, and the expectations from parents and expectations from society, expectations on yourself, and all these things, right? That's all challenging. But we need to understand that we are all built to survive. And in order to survive, we need food and water, we need shelter from environment. But there's something else that we really need in order to survive. Human beings cannot survive by themselves. So it's deeply in us that we have to fit in somehow. We need to belong. We need to be loved, perhaps. Love is perhaps a luxury for some people, don't experience the kind of love, but at least we need to belong and fit in somehow. And we do many, many different things in life to be able to fit in. In some families, maybe we're told to be quiet. Maybe that's a way of fitting in. Maybe we somehow adapt to be accepted. But that's of course also always our fears, to not fit in, to not, like I said, when I was in that age, I felt I didn't fit in certain situations. In other situations, I felt fine. So therefore, I feel confident. But it's so interesting that we realize that fear is to protect us. It is to recognize that there's a threat to our nervous system. And we don't have to go into all the biology and what happens in our body when we experience fears. But there's a protection. In English, we call fight or flight response. Either you want to fight or you want to run away when you experience fear, right? So we want to recognize that every time we get angry, every time we feel hostility, it's because we're afraid of something. Every time we want to run away, every time we want to not do it, every time we say, I'm okay, it's because of fear. And it's okay. Many times we don't want to use the word fear. We don't want to say, I'm afraid. No. We don't feel that's a good thing to say, so therefore we say something else. But it's so wonderful to recognize that. So therefore, when we do something that we've never done before, it's scary. Of course it is. But that is also creativity. That is also the beauty of life. I don't know. So therefore, we can have goals. Absolutely, that's wonderful. But I think the one thing that I've done for myself, and I also help other people with, is to really enjoy the process of discovery. To say, I don't know. And therefore, we explore what's possible. So instead of having beliefs of, I believe I can't do something, Who cares if we believe or not believe? Let's explore, let's discover. And therefore, we love to learn. We love to find out, right? And that's what I've done. That's why I went to the US. That's why I start new projects. That's why I come to travel the world. I come to Vietnam. I want to explore. I want to learn. So if I always have that in me, then there's no such thing as failing. I cannot fail because I'm always learning. I'm always discovering something. If I do something and I go up on stage and I do something that's not good, then that was interesting. And that's my favorite expression. Interesting. Everything then becomes something I can learn from. And therefore it becomes so much easier to take on challenges. So it's helpful to stop categorizing as right or wrong, or success or failure, or good or bad. That didn't work. Okay, I'll try it in a different way. And that's what I recommend for young people, that life is an exploration. My greatest happiness comes from just implementing an idea. If I have an idea, I don't want it to be stuck in my head for 15 years. I want to set in motion to see what I discover from it. And then if I discover I'll do something else, then that's fine. But then I've learned all the time, and therefore I'm growing and I'm learning quickly. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes so much sense, because I go through exactly what your explanation. But as a coach, like you say, and for me, I find this a bigger challenge when I deal with people to refuse to take action because of the fear inside them. The action being stopped.
That's right.
It's easy to say than done. When I share the same thing in my channel about you have to love the process of you failing and learn from every failure, and even share the embarrassing about my life, like whatever I just shared with you just now. If you ask me 7-8 years ago, I would never share all that information in public. I would never, right? Because for me, it's embarrassing. That's as a young person, I want to burn it down or like disappear for the rest of my life. For somehow when I sharing it and my audience listen to it and I give me secret email, oh my God, because of your story, I didn't kill myself or I don't suicide, because I realized that someone same like me. And then I realized, actually everybody go through something in life of the fear. It's just nobody share it. To break the fear for others, sometimes we have to share our fear with others. And for you to share your fear with others is already a very huge progress. And the process of it's not comfortable. It's completely not comfortable to even speak it out. And when I speak that to people that I helping, and I'm sure you face similar thing, the fear hold them back, and the story in their head about the fear, that it keep repeated. Sometimes it take 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, they come back to the same story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will come back with you with another episode and another amazing guest. Bye.